Hello, and welcome to the McKinney Vento training for teachers and school staff. The purpose of this training is to understand the federal law and how you can help. When we think of the word homeless, we think of pictures like this: no home, no job, no money. The term homelessness can carry with it a negative connotations and cause anxiety for students and family. This can lead to feelings of embarrassment and shame. These feelings can lead families and students to hide or cover up their actual situation. When discussing homelessness, I would highly recommend educators and staff to use the term in transition, highly mobile, support services, or even McKinney Vento eligible to lessen the anxiety, shame, and negativity that can be associated with situations, and we will be more likely to correctly identify the students and get them the resources they need. What is McKinney Vento? McKinney Vento is both a state and federal law. McKinney Vento defines the term homeless children and youths as individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. So let's take a deeper look at each of these identifiers. Fixed. This means a residence that is stationary, permanent, and not easily moved. RVs and vehicles are not fixed. Therefore, a student who is living in an RV or cars like the ones pictured would qualify as McKinney Vento. Regular. This means having the same place to sleep nightly. So a teen who gets kicked out of their house and ends up staying at different friends' houses, also known as couch surfing, would be McKinney Vento eligible. A family who moves often due to economic hardship, such as friends' houses or in shelters, hotels, motels, can also be McKinney Vento eligible, as they do not have a regular residence. One exception I want to mention here is that because we live in a military area, many of our families move often and or live in hotels, motels while they are waiting for military housing. 99% of the time, this would not qualify as McKinney Vento, although it is important to ask more questions and take each situation on a case-by-case basis. Adequate. Adequate means living conditions that provide the basic needs, such as running water, heat, electricity, and is not overcrowded. People sleeping in parks, beaches, trains, or bus stations do not have basic needs met and would qualify as McKinney Vento. Families who move into homes with other friends or extended family members due to economic hardship and or the square footage is not adequate for the number of people in the home would qualify as McKinney Vento. Septic failures, fires, floods that happen in a home would also qualify a family for McKinney Vento services. Many situations are easier to identify as McKinney Vento. Sleeping in tents, vehicles, non-residential places such as parks, laundromats, or streets are easily identified as McKinney Vento. The families who are doubled up, living with friends or extended family members, teens who are crashing at friends' houses, and are unaccompanied are not always easily identified, yet may need the McKinney Vento resources just as much. So why is it important to identify these students? If we do not know who the students are, we cannot support and serve them. It is state and federal law to do so. Also, identifying students supports the funding. The more we identify, the more funds we have to spend on resources to directly help these families and students. So what can we do? How do we help? Be observant. Students will often try to hide their situation. Is the student coming to school in the same clothes every day? Are they extremely tired and can't concentrate? Did you overhear the student saying they are not sleeping at home or that they have been staying at a friend's house? Did the student mention something about their house having issues like no running water or heat? Have they talked about how crowded their house is? Whatever the situation is that you either overhear or are told directly, it is very important not to judge and, if necessary, to ask questions carefully. Whether you speak to the student of concern or not, it is important to contact the McKinney Vento liaison so they can follow up. Once the student is determined to be McKinney Vento eligible, what are the school's responsibilities? Some McKinney Vento students come to the district without the necessary paperwork normally required for enrollment, like vaccine records and birth certificates. No matter what they may or may not have, all McKinney Vento students must be enrolled immediately. They receive free breakfast and lunches, and all fees are waived. The students are to be provided transportation to and from the school they attend, no matter where they live in and out of the district. McKinney-Vento students should have access to all sports, clubs, and extracurricular activities, Title I services, and extra services as needed, such as tutoring and counseling. They should be provided assistance with getting the necessary paperwork for enrollment and self-documentation, such as birth certificates, IDs, and driver's licenses. Seniors should also be given help and information to keep them on track to graduate, such as assistance filling out the FAFSA, especially unaccompanied youth, and guidance for their career and college goals. The goal of McKinney-Vento is to remove all barriers to education created by homelessness. Transportation. Transportation can be a big issue when it comes to McKinney-Vento students. What are the rights of the caregiver and the student? The student can attend the school of origin, which is the school the student attended when they were determined to be McKinney-Vento eligible, or they can attend the school they last attended, or they can attend the school in which they are now residing. School staff can discuss what they determine to be the best interest of the student, but ultimately it is up to the caregiver to decide. Here are some important facts to remember about the McKinney-Vento Act. FERPA laws apply. The McKinney-Vento status should be treated as confidential school record. Once a student is identified as McKinney-Vento, they remain McKinney-Vento the entire school year, even if they move into a fixed, regular, and adequate residence during the school year. Parents do not need to sign guardianship papers, and custody papers do not need to be awarded for enrollment. McKinney-Vento status does not end even at the beginning of a new year until it is determined that the student is now in a fixed, regular, and adequate residence. In closing, it is important to remember that schools may be the most safe and consistent thing in their life. It is so important that we provide a nurturing, supportive, non-judgmental environment for these students. The McKinney-Vento District Liaison information is located on the Oak Harbor School District website. My contact information will be on the last slide. Please reach out to me with any questions or concerns at any time. For your own information, I have provided links to some resources available online. I know your time is valuable and I appreciate all you do. Thank you for taking the time to listen.